On today's episode, we'll talk about why you shouldn't have a walkie in the makeup trailer, having your passport confiscated by Russian officials, Pirates of the Caribbean, Boogie Nights, learning to pick your battles, and of course, arts, crafts, and Johnny Depp's hair. Just a little bit of business before we start. There may be a curse word here or there in this episode, so please listen responsibly. As always, our website, theop.io, is up and chock full of tips, tricks, and gooey operator goodness. Make sure to check out the breakdown, where the best operators in the biz explain shots they have done, the musings, where we discuss everything from quick tips to larger concepts of storytelling, the answers, the images, and so much more. I may or I may not take a break or two during this episode, but I promise that none of them will be longer than 22 seconds. Finally, if you are enjoying the podcast, please follow us, write a review, share us with your parents, and talk us up around the water cooler with your friends. So grab a beverage, sit back, and enjoy the op. Thanks for listening.
Lock it up, nice and quiet, and let's roll.
Rolling. Victor 30 Echo, take 2.
Hey, Mark. Hey, Mark.
And camera set. And action.
Hello and welcome back to the Op Podcast, the podcast where we talk about operating and the art of visual storytelling. My name is Dave Kamaides, and I am your host, and coming to you yet again from the Panavision Theater in Woodland Hills, because it sounds better than the makeup room at my house. I don't really have a makeup room at my house. But the reason I said that is because today's guest is I was going to say you're an old friend, but you're not an old friend. You're a good friend that I've known for a while. Suzy Diaz. We go way back. And she's a makeup artist. Some of, but not all of, Suzy's credits: 911, Key and Peele, Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides, Star Trek Enterprise, Star Trek Voyager, Boogie Nights, and 2 movies that nobody else has heard of, Bitter Harvest and The Double O Kid, which I only put out there because I think we might have met on The Double O Kid, but maybe we knew each other before, but they were nothing little movies. And they, back then, I remember it was like, we're working on movies. It was amazing. But thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me. Oh, the good old days when movies were fun.
Double O Kid running around the LA Zoo, I think.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that today.
With Corey
Haim.
Corey Haim and
Nicole
Nicole Eggert.
Yeah. And I was on, and she was on roller skates, and Yep.
I remember, and John Rice Davies from Raiders of the Lost Ark was there, and I was like, "Whoa, he's like a movie star."
Yeah.
That was, and then Bitter Harvest, which was that's a whole
nother beast. That was the first time I ever had a walkie in my trailer, and the last time I ever had a walkie in my trailer, because they started talking shit about one of the actors, and they heard it, and I was like, "Okay, no more walkies," and I never had a walkie since.
That's okay. Point taken to anybody who wants to get in the makeup department. I never would have thought about that. That makes perfect sense. Wow.
Yeah. But the walkies they have nowadays, they have them in their ears, so it's not as bad. But I also can't listen to that jabber 24/7. But yeah, I was like, I don't want a walkie. Nope, can't do it.
So tell me your story. How'd you get to become like a makeup department head? Is that what you say? Makeup department head?
Yeah, sure. Well, I didn't want to. That's not what I wanted to do growing up. I wanted to be a businesswoman and run the world. So I went to school for economics with business, and
no way.
While I was in school, I worked 3 jobs, and one of them, I got my hairdressing license when I was in high school, and so one of my jobs was working at a salon so I could make money.
Where was this?
In Colorado.
Colorado.
See you in Boulder.
Yeah.
I worked teaching aerobics so I stay in shape, and I worked at a restaurant so I could eat. So I had these 3 jobs, and I worked this crazy thing. And I was like, okay, I'm going to be this businesswoman, da-da-da-da. And then my last year in college, I was at the salon, and I always did, it was the 80s, so I did all the crazy punk stuff because I was the youngest in the salon. And they go, just do this person's makeup. So I started doing people's makeup. And then I saw this movie called Effects, and it was about a makeup artist that changed people and made them.
Do you remember this?
Yeah, he did all the character stuff, and then they robbed stuff or something like that.
Yeah.
And I thought, I want to do that. So then I thought, when I get out of school, I'm going to go to makeup school, and if I like it, I'll do it. And if I'm not good at it, I'll go back and get my master's.
Makeup school for the movies, you mean?
Yeah. Well, for makeup school, you have to learn how to do makeup, right?
But like anybody, for anything? I mean, what do most people who come out of that do if they don't do the movies?
Oh, yeah. I see what you're saying.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, no, people could do beauty
like,
and fashion.
Yeah, I guess I don't think about that. Like people go to big parties and they get made up or whatever.
Well, no, they could do like fashion world and illustrate.
Oh yeah,
you know.
okay, sure.
Yeah,
okay.
but so I graduated from college and then I went to a makeup school in London, and I guess I was pretty good at it because
You're good at it.
and it was fun,
Stop.
and that was it. I said, okay, I'm gonna be a makeup artist.
How
And
long is makeup school?
So I went, it was like a year, and, you know, they taught you hairdressing, which I already knew, so I was pretty bored with that. And then, you know, everything. They taught you everything, how to make the prosthetics, wigs, everything. So it was a pretty intensive course.
And effects makeup too?
Yeah,
Or is it
all of it. Like everything you
so
could
like
think
how to
of.
make cuts and blood. And,
Yeah, and I remember the first time I did a wax cut, because it's so, you know, back then.
Wait, what's a wax cut?
Well, it's just you use mortician's wax, and you, like, push it, and you put it down on your skin, then you can, like, do a slice and put blood and it looks like you sliced your skin.
No way.
And I was like, I can't do this. This is so gross. And then all of a sudden you just do.
And now you work on 911 and
I
that's
know where
all
we have
you do.
so much blood and guts. It's ridiculous. But yeah, it just was life-changing. I thought, this
Wow.
is really fun because I get to just play.
That's so cool.
But there was one little, somewhere in between all of that, before I went to makeup school, I interned at Merrill Lynch for like a temp job.
Yeah.
And I went, they told me what to wear, that I was in summer, and they're like, you need to wear pantyhose. I'm like, I'm tan. What are you talking about? And it was I was like, I can't do the corporate world. So I was like, what? I want to do business, but I don't want to do that. And then all of a sudden, like, this came up, and I thought, this is my own business. You know, we start off, it's our own business. We hustle.
Mm-hmm.
We do all that, and I'm not just a stupid girl that went to beauty school, you know, at least smart.
Full on.
And so, so it's kind of a cool thing. And I said, until I get bored, I'll keep doing this. And 33 years later, I'm still here.
You're not bored yet.
Not bored yet.
So you left London, and so do you have like a degree or something, or like do you have something that proves that you can do it,
it's
or
just
what?
I mean, you don't really need one for makeup. So hairdressing, you have to have a license, right? Because it's a state license. But makeup, there's no licensing for makeup. So you just get your degrees, and a lot of people just do YouTube and figure it out. But my thing is, if you're doing the chemicals, you should go to a school for that.
Oh yeah, because you could really mess someone up.
You can mess someone up bad.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna do
That's true.
the chemical part, you should go to school and learn it.
Sure.
I
The
mean,
chemicals being, I mean, I'm
So,
thinking
like,
hair, but what else?
But no, for like if you're gluing down prosthetics, the
Oh,
glue,
yeah.
the stuff
Okay.
to remove it. There's a thing that called collodium, and it would make you put it on, and it sucks the skin in. It's for like closing up wounds, but it looks like
whoa.
really cool scars, right? But you can like kill somebody's skin with it. You can
Oh, my
really
gosh.
like burn them.
Oh,
yeah.
geez. Good
So there's a
Lord.
lot of stuff you
Yeah.
can mess up.
Oh, that's wild. So did you come straight to Hollywood then?
No. So I went back to Colorado and just tried to find work out there, but realized everything was union. And so I did like PBS or anything that it didn't matter what. I'd work with photographers. I would just work. So I remember doing PBS and these live shows for free, right? This is the funny part. So I decided, they're like, you should host a show. I'm like, okay, I'll do a fashion show. So I got the models, I got the clothes, I did all the makeup.
On PBS?
Yeah, it's hilarious. And I thought nobody's going to watch it. And I was so nervous that one of the guys like, just take a couple shots. So I did a couple shots. And I guess I was doing this with my foot.
Wait,
The whole time it's filmed, right?
You're kicking your foot.
Yeah, I'm just like nervous and kicking my foot out as I'm
and this
sitting
is
there.
after having a couple shots of what, vodka or
I don't
whiskey
know
or
what it
something,
was
whatever
back then, but I was just so nervous.
Yeah.
And so I did this whole fashion shoot, and I thought nobody's going to see it. The next day, I got the calls. Yeah, we were bored. We got snowed in, so we watched you. And I was like, oh, my God, I should never be in front of the camera, ever.
Please tell me that this exists somewhere.
I hope not. I don't
Come
know. I
on.
wouldn't even know where to find it.
All right,
but
everybody who's listening, look, I'm Suzy Diaz, PBS, Colorado. I want this video.
So funny.
So you did one?
I hosted one. Yeah,
You
I did
hosted
one.
one.
But I was, behind the scenes. But I was just working anything. And then one day my boyfriend and I were out to dinner, and my friends came up to me and they said, hey, there's some company in town doing a movie from California. You should go check it out. So I walked up, I said, all right. Went up to them with my little book. I had my little portfolio with 10 pictures from school.
Okay.
And I said, here's what I can do. And he goes, you do hair? And I go, yep. You do makeup? Yep. You do effects? Yep. Because you're hired. I think I made $50 a day.
And that is how you started in this business.
Yes. And I was a department of one. I did hair, makeup, and effects, just me for full movies.
Who were they going to get? Like they just hadn't thought of it or something? Or?
I didn't know you could have other people.
No, but I mean, if you were the department of one, like, what was the plan before you showed up?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
What was the name of this movie?
Oh, so what was the first one? I think it was called White Fury.
Okay.
And it was like AIP. And I worked with them for like 7 years. I worked with them a lot. They when I moved out here, they just took me under their wing.
One to the other, yeah.
Yeah, but I remember that first movie. I knew nothing about movies. I knew nothing. And the director, we were filming on a mountaintop. There was no craft service. I think there was coffee and donuts. And the director's like, you have to stay outside with me in the snow the whole time. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
No idea.
Oh,
so I
cool.
stood out in the snow with him, and finally, you can go inside. I'm like, okay. And the grips would be like, hey, you have to help us carry lights. Okay, because I don't know. So I'm carrying these lights, and they're like, okay, no, you can't. You guys can't do that to her. So they just like punked me.
Oh my gosh!
It was
well,
hilarious.
you paid your dues, I guess.
I
or
paid my
whatever.
dues in a big way. But yeah.
But you probably impressed a lot of them with being like, hey, look at how she's carrying that light and that 4-aught.
Because I had no idea.
Yeah,
I thought that's what you do. It's a group effort.
And so you did, what was it, like a 4-week movie or something
Yep,
like that?
a lot of 4-week movies. So in a year, I probably did 3 or 4 movies.
No way.
You know?
So you're trial by fire, right? You're learning.
Yeah, so I spent a year in Colorado, and then I asked the producer on the show, I said, hey, can I stay with you if I move to LA? She said, yep. So I packed up my car. I had $800. And I went to stay with, she was our producer, and she let me live with her. It was supposed to be for 3 months. I stayed there for like 3 years. And I was a great roommate. Literally about 6 months later, I went to Russia for 6 months. So
oh my gosh.
I was always
on a movie?
Yes.
Wow.
That's a whole nother story.
What was that like? Just tell me that quickly.
So really quick, it was right after the coup, so there was no government. So as far as being there in history,
this was like 1992 or something?
91.
91? Okay.
The most amazing time, because we were being watched by KGB. We were the Azerbaijan refugees are trying to get into our rooms. We had armed guards on our floor. It was supposed to be a 3-month movie. They took our passports. There was no way to communicate. It was by fax, or you waited a month to make a phone call.
Oh, wow.
Oh, no, it was,
And you're what, 24,
yeah.
23?
Yeah, and I'm the one in charge of everybody, because I brought a little, like, how to learn Russian, because I had to. I'm a department head of these women that had been doing it longer than I was alive.
Oh my gosh.
And it was American-Russian co-op. So I had 3 women working for me that did not speak English. And so I'd take little things on all the, I'd look up the word, like, okay, guba pomada, that's lipstick. And I would tape it there. And I went through 5 interpreters. They were like, your accent's hard. So I had to learn it. So by the end, I was having conversation with my girls. Like, I got
Get out of here.
Yeah, I got really good. But the babies, actors, sorry, no offense, they just couldn't take care of themselves. So I'm fighting for food. I'm fighting for water. I mean, it was a joke. Our heat didn't come on until November.
Oh, jeez.
It
What
was
movie was
insane.
this? What was the name?
This one was called Mad Dog Cole and then Hit the Dutchman. They were 1920s gangster movies.
Great.
And Janusz Kaminski shot the first one. It was his last movie before he went to Spielberg.
Wow.
Yeah, so I got to work with Janusz, which was amazing.
That's pretty cool.
The prettiest thing I ever on any. I did a reel, I think a million years ago, and it was Janusz's work that was
from that
flawless. Yeah. Yeah, I got lucky with that one.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's very cool. What an experience. Jeez. So how long were you there for?
6 months.
And you weren't supposed to be there for 6 months,
No,
it sounds like.
3.
Was there ever a point where you were like, I'm not getting back?
Yeah. Oh, I thought when they took our passports, I was like, I don't understand. And I couldn't tell my family because what could they do? And my mom would worry, my dad would worry. So I just kind of dealt with it. And then one point they weren't paying me. My roommate faxed me. She said, you're not getting paid. So it was a period piece. So I took all the wigs, I locked them up, and I went like this. Nope.
Crossed her arms and said, forget about it.
So I stopped production.
Wow.
Until they paid me.
Don't mess with Suzy Diaz. Just so
I was a badass as a little
That's
kid.
great. I love it.
Yeah, it's a crazy story.
Wow.
Yeah.
So all right. So but you're basically learning. It's trial by fire, and you're learning
100%.
very quickly.
Very quickly. Yeah, I had no one to teach me. I had no one to give me direction because I don't know anybody in the film business.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I knew nothing. And I learned everything on my own. I learned when an actor's like, oh, your breath stinks. I'm like, I just brushed my teeth. He goes, Like, okay. Note to self, that. Yeah. And, all the little things that you're supposed to, like how to act on set. I didn't know how to act on set. And, I just learned by me. And so that's why when people ask if I'd give advice, I'm like, you can call me anytime. Because if I had somebody that would help,
Yep.
I would have loved it. But I didn't have one person.
That's what this whole thing is kind of about, right? Is like passing this stuff on. Because, I wasn't as, well, I didn't know anybody either. And I didn't have as tough a time as you did. But it was just like, nobody told you.
No, you just kind of
go. Just figured it out.
Yeah, and then by my 7th or 8th film, they said, hey, do you want someone to help you? I'm like, wait, that's an option? That was life-changing. And I went, you know what? I'm not going to do hair anymore because that's too much work. And
oh, my gosh.
Yeah. And then when we get in the union, obviously you have to do hair and makeup. But I was like, oh, no, makeup's easier because you can just wipe it off. Hair is like a whole other beast.
Because it takes so much time.
It takes so much longer, and I think actors are pickier, and it's harder to redo. Like, again, makeup.
Yeah,
just
you're committing.
Wow. And I'm like, you guys are pickier about hair. And
so how long did it take you till you actually got in the union?
3.5 years. Which is
fast?
It's pretty fast. I got in. So I got in my first. I got in the 798, which is East Coast union, because I was doing a movie with this actress, and she said, "Oh, I've got a TV series in Florida, and I want you to do it." And back then, it was easier to get in. They kind of were forced to take me in, and I'm the only non-union person on a union show. Everybody hated me. I was mean, and then the union, they were bullies, and they threatened me.
Wait, so I'm sorry, you were non-union, but you were working on a union show?
Yeah, because they let me go in on an actor request. Back then, it was easier.
You can get that. That's how you get away with it.
Yep.
Okay.
So I got in that union, and I'm still in it. I don't know why the dudes are stupid, but it was a crazy experience because they threatened me, and then they're like, "Oh, she's never coming back," and I went back for another series. They're like, "Oh, her," and then I got into this union 2 years after that. So,
oh wow,
a year or two, yeah, something like that.
And so I didn't think about that. That's a thing where like actors and actresses will go, no, I want Suzy. Like,
it used to be easier to get it. You can't do it as easy now. Now you have to be with the people for a long time. It's harder to go in as an actor request.
It is. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what's changed? Just like, you mean
5,000 members.
Oh, okay. Oh, I got you. Okay.
We're just oversaturated for the amount of work.
Yeah, so a lot of places are.
I mean, you can act a request as far as if you're already in the union, they can get you on a movie, but it's harder non-union.
Oh, but that's what I mean. But union-wise, I'm saying just in general, though.
Oh, yeah. No, in general, we act a request. I just got turned down in Canada as an actor request because of the pending strikes. They said we don't want to. The third. And I went, you gotta be kidding.
We ever gonna get out of pending strikes?
No.
Oh, good Lord.
No.
But so do you look back on that? Was that a good experience, even though you had the union issues and whatnot? I mean. They had and the funny thing is, so we all became friends after a couple months. Oh, that's cool.
It just took them a minute I took a job from one of their locals, but
okay, sure.
I get it.
And was it like going from a non-union job to a union job? Was it like night and day? Like
no, it's the same stuff. I just made more money.
Okay.
I actually was like,
and
oh
you
my
had
god,
more help. It sounds like.
Well, yeah, you had a normal department.
Yeah.
And I'm still best friends with the girl who's my key, who was shitty to me at first.
Oh.
And I tell her that. I'm like, you remember how mean? She goes, I don't remember. I'm like, yeah, you were mean to me. But we're really good friends. We've been friends ever since the second show. But it was really funny because I just didn't know me, and I get it.
And this is a weird question because this is part of the thing that I don't really know. What's a normal department for, not some massive movie, but for like a regular TV show or whatever? Like
2 to 3 people.
2 to 3 people? That's makeup. Hair and makeup?
No,
or?
2 to 3 in makeup, 2 to 3 in hair.
Okay. And is it usually like a swing person in case it gets too much or something?
Oh, that's just, yeah. So we kind of have a swinging fourth on ours.
Yeah.
And then we have a personal, so we have 5 in my department in general. And then when our big days, obviously, we hire out. And I think I've had probably like 13 people is my most on this show.
Oh my gosh. That seems
which
crazy.
Was not a lot. Like I needed more, but
Yeah, of course you never have as much.
I know.
So were you king? You weren't king on that.
I was always department head on everything.
Really?
Almost everything I've ever done until I went to Star Trek, I was department head.
Wow.
And then obviously I wasn't the boss on Star Trek, because that was my, Mike Westmore.
I don't know.
It was my ex-father-in-law. That's how I met my husband, was on Star Trek.
Oh, okay.
He was an editor.
I think I sort of knew this, but
yeah, I worked for his dad, and once I found out who he was, I'm like, I'm not going out with you. And then,
that went another place.
It just happened.
But you say Because that's their universe. You're saying like that's
No, because he was the boss. So I mean, most of the shows I always department head because it was just me, and then when I got somebody else, they would work underneath me.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
But and as I started on Star Trek, because Mike was the boss, and then when he wasn't there, then I was the boss.
Gotcha.
Or whatever. But then then you work on movies, and I was a key on Key and Peele. I wasn't the department head. So it just
Wait, what's the difference between being a key and being a department head?
money and making the decisions and doing the meetings and stuff like that.
Oh, so the department head is in front is on top of hair and makeup, whereas the key is like each branch.
No, so
I don't know
hair
how it
has a
works.
department head.
Oh,
Makeup has
okay.
a department head.
Gotcha.
It's the same on both sides. It's all the same.
I gotcha.
So yeah, and they each run their own thing, but you run it together.
I gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
In conjunction with each other. So talking about something like Star Trek versus a quote unquote normal movie, some like love story or whatever. Yeah. Is it more interesting to do something like Star Trek?
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Halloween.
all the time, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Star Trek was really fun because when we were working on it, we had our own shop on the lot, so they made all the prosthetics right there. So
Cool.
if you were like, hey, can I get some ears or a cheek? And they're like, oh yeah, and then you'd get an ear and a cheek within a day.
Wow.
You didn't have to go through so many people, and it was just kind of fun, and you could watch how it was made or ask super special requests or whatever. And then they'd be like, oh, we're going to do a Westmore Alien, which is you just gather different pieces of,
And build something.
And that's an alien.
So, but that's what I was going to ask that. Like, are some of the things sort of your creation, and some of the things are like, no, this is how this character is going to look?
No, Mike created all of them.
Okay.
Yeah, he was the boss. And
he does that in pre-production, like way ahead of time, or does it change?
Changes as we go.
Really?
Yeah, it was fun because he would tell me, he goes, come up to the office with me and watch what I deal with. I'm like, okay. So he would get this really beautiful colored, beautiful alien that for show and tell, and they'd be like, nah, let's make it beige. And
you mean something that he'd created ahead to show them, and then they just suck the life out of it.
Let's make it beige. And I looked at him. He goes, pick your battles. And that's the best advice I ever got. Just pick your battles. Know what's worth. He goes, that's not worth it to me to fight over that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? Okay.
Yeah, I get it.
I learned a lot from him because he's obviously wise, and his family's been in the business since day
this is
one.
the way you're talking about him. It seems like they're like legacy people or something.
His grandfather started the first makeup in a movie in the film industry.
Whoa.
Yeah. Before I started dating him, people said, read the book. And I read the book. I'm like, I will never date that young man.
What book?
The Westmores of Hollywood. So.
Oh, see, I have no idea who this is.
Oh, my God.
It's funny because it's such a part of your life. And I'm like, who are we talking about?
I know, that's so funny.
No, of course not.
So his grandfather came from England. I'm going to get it all wrong, probably. Had 8 sons and basically started doing makeup on films and hair. And the sons ran Hollywood for like 40 years.
Wow.
They were before the
So
Ben
this is
Nyes.
like 1930s, 1940s kind of thing.
Yeah,
or
something.
maybe even before.
I think it's before. I'm horrible with my dates, but
That's right.
But they ran Hollywood, you
Wow.
know, and there's stories of them everywhere, and they were all like ladies' man and stuff like that. And but my ex-father-in-law was not. He was very, married and still very
he's
married.
the grandson. So did that guy's son? Like everybody's gone
Almost
into
everybody
it?
had kids that went into makeup, except for him. So my ex-husband was an editor, and then his sister is an actress, and then the other sister not in the business.
Gotcha.
So.
Okay. Wow. So like going to work for him is like that's like a big thing.
Well, it was huge, and I had no idea. So I had just met.
Okay.
I had no idea what I went into. Let me just put it that way.
Oh,
so
I gotcha. Okay.
I was working on a film, and this medic and I were talking. He goes, "You should go talk to my wife. She works on Star Trek." So I gave her a call. They hired me. My ex-husband at the time saw me on set. He was an editor, and he was down seeing LeVar Burton talking about their show, and saw me. This is what everybody tells me, and didn't introduce him. As he just met me, and then apparently he kept telling that girl to keep hiring me, and that's how I kept getting hired.
Worked out for you.
And then one day, he actually starts talking to me. Everybody's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, he likes you," and I was like, "Whatever." And then they told me that his dad was the boss. I was like, "Oh, you can't date the boss." I'm like, "No." And so I waited till after wrap, and he kept pursuing me, and he was such a gentleman about the whole thing. Like, he courted me properly, and then I fell in love, all that stuff. But
There you go.
But I had no idea about the family. I'm
That's
like, I don't know
amazing.
my makeup history.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like, oh my God. And then my father-in-law had the best stories, and we kept saying,
I'll bet.
you gotta write a book. So he wrote a book, but like he would have us.
Oh, this
sometimes-
is the book you were talking about. Is he wrote it?
He wrote it. Yeah.
I gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was one time, like, there's a few times where he'd come to our trailer. He goes, ask no questions, just make sure this looks good and make it look real. And I went, what? And so I'd get somebody in my chair, and he goes, you need to put a nose on him. Don't ask questions. It just needs to look real. And I found he was doing all this undercover for the cops and we were doing undercover makeups or something. Like, it was
What?
crazy. He's
You
got
mean
all
like real world stuff?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, he had me come to the house one day and teach these undercover cops that were doing drug stuff how to do like fake
Track marks.
and stuff like that. Yeah.
So it would look like they were heroin users.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And he goes, it has to look real because they got to pass.
That's wild.
So there would be these crazy things. And you're like, what did I just do? And he goes, you don't need to know. And I'm like, this is cool.
Well,
yeah.
but it makes sense, especially in Los Angeles. If you're going to need something like that, you're going to look who's the best makeup person, and you're going to find out and go. That's wild.
Yeah, his book's crazy because he would sit at dinner and tell us these stories, and I would just be like,
What's the name of the book? Do you know?
it's Mike Westmore. It's just his biography.
Oh, okay.
Autobiography.
All right.
yeah.
I'll link to it when this comes out.
Yeah.
Actually, I want to read it now.
I think it's called The Makeup Man, actually.
Okay.
It's
That's
so bad that I'm
fascinating.
horrible with names. Yeah, it's
Wow.
it's an amazing book. Like, the whole family history is amazing and intimidating because also I can't mess up. When I'm at work working for him for those 7 years.
7 years.
I
Wow.
worked on the, between
Two
all
shows,
the
right?
Yeah. And like, you can't, there's no room to mess up because people are like, oh, you're hired because of nepotism. Like, well, no, I got hired before, what I mean? And it's that whole thing, and you just go, I can't mess up.
Well, the reality is, I mean, you don't anyway, so.
But you know what I'm saying? It
I
was
know
a
what you mean.
lot of pressure.
It's a lot of pressure.
And
Yeah.
But whatever.
That's cool. Now, when you're, did you have any of those aliens where it's like they come in and it's 3.5 hours of makeup?
Oh yeah, a lot of the Borgs were about 4 hours.
4 hours. So what are they doing the whole time? Are they just like zoning out?
A lot of times they're sleeping because it's like 2 a.m.
Are
1
they
a.m.
actually sleeping?
Yeah.
And you have to wake them up because they're snoring or whatever?
It's better to let them sleep until they start doing that.
And start
dropping
nodding
the head.
and whatnot?
Yeah.
That's what I was wondering. Or like, like shuddering, like you're putting something on and they move or whatever.
Yeah, you have to. It's most of the time when what's a sensitive area, you touch them lightly and you say, hey, we're gonna do this.
We're going to do
now.
this and that, yeah.
I mean, just
Wow.
on our show, we had this burn makeup that took us the first time we did it like 3 hours.
On 911, you mean? Yeah.
It was a long makeup. Then we had a 5-hour makeup my second season there.
Oh, God.
It was insane. It was two of us, 5-hour makeup, and it was really cool.
Does that get tedious for you as a makeup artist? Like, or is it interesting
It's
the whole
just
time?
interesting the whole
Okay,
time.
it is. Okay.
Yeah.
And when you're doing like burn, something like that, I know obviously I'm not saying you're just winging it, but like, are you kind of making it up as you go along or is it just like a plan, you know exactly what you're going to do and it turns out that way?
Kind of both. I mean, we do have a general idea of what the look is because we'll either send a kind of a concept or go through images and say this is the vibe that you want to go for because unfortunately directors and producers they need visual.
Yeah.
And that's where sometimes the research is hard because there's nothing on it.
Sure.
But so we'll give them kind of visual. Then me and my team, we talk about it, and then we kind of as we go, and then we're like, oh, how about more of this? And that's not going to work. Let's try this. So it is a lot of artistic freedom.
I was going to say there's an artistic aspect to it. I mean, you're creating something, right?
Yeah. I mean, it is within the boundaries of what I'm supposed to show up with.
Do you surprise yourself a lot? Like, do you get to a point and you're like, this looks nothing like I thought, or this looks much better than I thought?
Absolutely.
Is that right? Which way does it go more
Oh
often?
my God. We had a moment with this last makeup, and we were both just going, oh, this sucks. Because he kept moving, the actor kept moving, and it was getting, and the piece, and I was like, oh no, it's curling, da-da-da. And somehow by the time we got it all done and laid a bunch of hair, I was like, oh, it actually looks good. But he would sleep through most of it, and then every once in a while he'd move, and we're like, no, if you don't powder, if it's not dry, it just glue.
So like it needs to sit for 10 minutes and he happens
needs
to
to
move
dry.
or whatever. Yeah.
or
exactly.
powder it.
Yeah.
So it was one of those things that we're just like, no,
jeez.
not anybody's fault. It's
Yeah.
just,
Yeah. Especially if they're getting up at 2 a.m, you can't blame people.
Oh
for falling
no,
asleep and whatnot.
it's funny because I prefer the early calls so they can fall asleep, and then we just do what I need to do. Because sometimes you have those people that are like, can you film me and
jeez.
wait, but I'm like, just let us do the job. But this isn't like, but we're not done. Like,
Wow.
we're not done painting.
And they're moving all over the place and
You're
whatnot.
just
Oh
like,
boy.
Yeah.
Hey.
But it is fun, and the challenge is fun.
Now, you can answer this any way you want, or just into this you want. Do you guys get all of my daughter would say the tea on set in the hair and makeup room? Is like everybody talking about everybody?
So yes. So first of all, we're very good counselors and therapists and
Okay.
all that, right? Because that's all we do. You know?
Well, basically, because an actor comes in and they're pissed off at another actor, or they're pissed off at the director, or something like that.
We hear it all.
Yeah, There's a bit, probably a very big vault that you put stuff
Yep.
in.
Yeah.
Yep.
You don't talk about it unless it needs to be. I mean, I've definitely had to talk some actors off a ledge. You know, like, I don't want to say this, and then tears, and you're just like,
jeez.
hold please. So
Yeah.
there's a meltdown going on in my trailer.
And
What
this
can we
is-
do about this?
who-
This happens just.
But
I've
this
had,
is to the AD, or
so
who?
I'll go. It depends on what it's about. So
Yeah.
if it's about words, I will go to the director and the writer and
Yeah.
just be like, they're having a melt. You guys we gotta change something.
Yeah.
Something's gotta, or this is what's just so you know ahead of time. This is what's going on.
This is what's coming on set.
This is what's coming on set.
So you're advocating basically for them, yeah.
Yeah, because we try to calm people down because we're the first thing they see, and so our vibe has to be really cool and quiet and nice.
Oh, that's interesting. I never thought about that.
We
that's like a
create the
specific
day.
design.
Yeah,
Uh,
we create their day. So our trailer,
Wow.
we call it happiness. That's because they could come in just pissed off at the world, but we got to try to relax them because our whole day depends on that. And
Yeah.
so we do our best to just to listen. Half the time I don't interact. I'm just listening and do whatever. And then if I need to say something, I have no problem saying anything.
Uh-huh.
But we had a season on a show where the actors were fighting, and that was the worst because they had to be in the trailer together.
You mean the two leads or two of the leads? Or
Two
of the big,
people
yeah.
on the show just had some issues.
Yep.
And it's so hard to be in the trailer because they don't even want to look at each other.
It's just like tension.
It's horrible, and that's
God.
the safe place. So
Yeah.
you just go, you guys got to work it out. But they eventually did, and it
Yeah.
was fine. But it's a hard one to be.
But can you ever take a look at the two of them and go, look, whatever's between you guys, but you're bringing us all down, so don't bring it here. Like leave it outside, or
I think you could, depending on what
who they
the
are.
situation is.
Yeah.
That one was about money, so that wasn't going to happen.
That's not going to change. That's all. That I could see like very cautiously stepping away from that. I don't want anything to do with that.
Yeah.
That's wild. And do you usually? I mean, so you usually end up creating relationships with these people, I would imagine.
Yeah.
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 For the most part, are most people like pretty decent with hair and makeup,
Yeah.
knowing that you're going to have to be poking them and this and then waking them up and all that stuff?
Yeah. I
They
think in
understand.
general we get it's a nice place for them to be.
Yeah.
And safe, and just like some of the people you just feel sorry for, like girls having sex scenes and we're their safe place, and
Yeah.
just stuff that they're too afraid to tell production, and then like, okay, I'll tell them.
Yeah, right.
Because somebody's got to.
Yeah.
And what are they going to do to me? Like,
You're just relaying information.
I'm just relaying information.
It's funny because when I did ER, there was a guy named Jerry who did hair, who used to cut my hair for me every once in a while because he gave great haircuts. And so at lunch, he'd come on set and he'd go, "You need a haircut. Come in at lunch." And I'd go in at lunch. And I remember I'd sit down there and I'd be like, "It's so nice in here." Like it's so, like they had music playing,
Yeah.
and I was like, "This is fantastic."
Oh yeah, it's great. We always have coffee and snacks, and it's a nice place.
Yeah. What about, tell me about Key and Peele, because that must have been, I mean, the thing about Key, first of all, it sounds like it was just like a blast.
So fun.
Was it?
It was
just,
one of my favorite shows.
was it just laughing all day long?
We would ruin takes. The crew would ruin takes because we would laugh so hard, and the guys would be like, that's perfect because it's funny if you guys are laughing.
If you guys are laughing.
People would have to leave because we would do it. They were doing one sketch that they were rehearsing while we were doing their makeup. We were crying. We were laughing so hard that we.
I never thought about that. They'd be in the chairs like doing their stick and working it out.
Because they write it.
Yeah.
They wrote it, and then it's just the two of them. In 99% of the time.
Yeah.
And we would this one sketch. I had to leave a few times because I was crying. It was so funny.
Do you think that they were using you guys as the to see whether it landed or not?
Well, they're going to film it anyway, so maybe, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't you, right? Like if that's the first audience, that's hilarious.
They were so fun. They wrote all of us. They would write different people into their sketches. Like there's one of the sketches that Keegan's on the phone. He's like, Suzy Diaz having a party at her house tonight. Da, da, da. And I was like, he just threw that in there because he's like, I'm going to use your name. And then on Keanu, the cat film, Diaz clan.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Just saying.
Nice.
Just saying.
A little shout out. That's pretty sweet.
But they've done it with like one of the characters was based off our costume girl, and they were heaven to work with.
That's so great. I'm so happy because you see that show and you want that show to be that way.
It was everything about it was amazing, and they would always go beyond the box.
Really?
Like as big as you want to go. Like there was so much creative freedom, and they were so creative and nicest guys on the planet.
Well, it also must have been a blast. I mean, like we both know Charles Peppard, who shot the show, and it's like from his point of view and your point of view, it's like you do like 5 genres in a day. I mean, it's probably a lot of work, but it must have been a blast.
It was a lot of work, but it was fun. I mean, because there were days where they were in and out of prosthetics 3 times.
Yeah, right.
Which is hard on the skin.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Oh yeah, and it's funny because my boss is a man, and he's lovely, and he's an amazing makeup artist. And most of the time he would get Jordan, most of the time I'd do Keegan. We'd alternate a lot, but those were pretty much. And so at the end, I'd be cleaning Keegan up, and I'd be massaging, make sure all the skin, doing all this. And Jordan would look over, and he looks at Scott, and Scott's like, I'm not doing that.
I'm not doing that. Get her over here and do that.
And I was like, but for me, their skin's clean. I know it's going to be prepped for tomorrow.
Yeah,
but Scott's like, nope, not happening.
Not happening. Do it yourself.
Sure?
Go home and take a shower.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
So I would get both of them, and it was just really funny. I was like, I would pamper those guys to the moon because they were so awesome.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, they were great.
That's fantastic. What about Boogie Nights?
That was a really interesting show to work on.
I can imagine, yeah.
Yeah, it was an eye-opener on many levels. And it was really fun. It was a big show, and I was the key on that, but somehow I had our department had the main 2, and then me. I mean, I had everybody.
The main 2 were Heather Graham and
no, I had Heather. Marky Mark and
Mark Wahlberg, and who was the other main?
Oh my God, why can't I think of her name? Julie.
Julianne
Moore.
Julianne Moore. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, which was a lot. I mean, they were in everything. So she was really busy with them.
Yep.
And I just at the film, Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Oh my God, Philip Seymour Hoffman! Tell me he was fantastic to work with.
That entire cast.
What a genius that man was.
That cast was amazing.
It was incredible.
It was everybody.
Burt Reynolds.
So Burt had his own person.
Okay, sure, yeah.
And who was an amazing makeup artist, has passed. And the best thing was, so Burt and Paul Thomas Anderson got in a big fight one day. We stopped production for hours.
Well, there was a whole thing about how Burt Reynolds was embarrassed by that movie. Like, he was not happy with it, right? And it kind of resurrected his career.
Yeah, I don't know that part of it.
No, I've read it in interviews.
I just remember the day that they fought, it was ugly, and I would have loved to have seen Burt do that, but yeah.
Okay, all right. So
we were go Team Burt.
But how do I put this delicately? I'm not going to put it delicately. It must be. Does it become normal to work on a set that's? It's about the porn industry, so you're very up close and personal with people.
So we had a lot of real porn stars. I think we had about 5 or 6 of them.
Yeah.
And they were fascinating, and I had to ask 1,000 questions.
I'm sure.
And
were they cool with that?
They were all really cool. They were a lot of. I got educated a lot.
Were they just like fascinated to be on a real movie?
I don't know. I don't think it had anything. They were just like, it's another day.
Okay. Yeah.
And they would do back to back. They would do porn during the day, and then us at night.
Oh my gosh.
And some of the things I heard, I was like, what's that? I mean, I felt pretty vanilla.
Yeah.
And
Oh.
you know, and then we had Nina Hartley, who was pretty awesome. And I don't know how much you know about her, but she was a fascinating woman, you know, big porn star and all that, and just beautiful. And one day we'd worked all night, and it was 7:00 in the morning. I'm taking sideburns off this background guy, and Nina's in the chair chatting up with her makeup artist, and she's got on just a robe. And the director always had a thing about putting a porn in the TV and say, this is the theme of the day.
Every day. Okay.
And it's uncomfortable when the porn star is sitting in your chair and you're like, I don't need to see that.
It's a different world, isn't it? I don't think that would happen.
You couldn't do it today.
Anyway.
So he would do that. And so there was still porn playing and some...
In the trailer, you're saying?
Yeah. And so I'm taking off this background sideburn. He goes, oh. I said, that looks painful. It was a guy doing... Anyway.
Yeah.
And he goes, oh, I wonder, am I doing things wrong? And Nina goes, oh, do you want some advice on how to do this on a woman?
Yeah.
And he goes, yeah. So he goes over to her. She takes her robe and starts talking about him. She's completely naked. I went,
wow.
This is 7 a.m. Okay, I got to go. Bye.
This is the strangest job in the world.
You're like, is this breakfast? What's going on here?
Yeah. Oh, my gosh.
She gave... advice on everything, and it was
uninhibited. I'm assuming.
No, it was really fabulous actually to work with all of them because I did learn a lot.
Yeah, I'm sure. Sure. But the thing that I was wondering is, like, when you're on a movie like that, where people are naked constantly and you're touching new people, does it just become like, do you forget about it? Like, does it become? It doesn't become weird after.
No.
Does it become not weird after a while?
Yeah, it's not weird because they were all comfortable.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's different on some of our shows where our leads have to have sex scenes together.
And that's not the norm, right?
Yeah, and it's uncomfortable for them because they're like, oh, wait, now we got to kiss each other? Ew, you know what I mean? Or whatever.
Yeah.
It's different.
I would imagine at one point, especially with women, were there women who asked you to watch the monitors to sort of keep an eye on things?
Oh, I'm always... Yeah, especially... Yeah. Yes, I'm always at the monitors. That's the one thing. When I first started... So weird. They always had to have a girl in the room for sex scenes on all this non-union stuff, so it was always me. And I would just sit with my head down.
Oh
and
my
be
God!
like,
When you weren't carrying lights or
yeah,
cable
exactly.
Or whatever.
I'm like, why am I there? They go, because you're a girl.
Yeah.
And so I got stuck on so many sex scenes.
Wow.
But now we didn't have monitors back then. Remember? I don't remember.
Yeah, at the beginning there weren't.
I don't remember.
They existed, but you couldn't afford them, so nobody had them.
Yeah, we didn't have them. So yeah, I'm actually me and the DP usually are like this because I need to be at the monitor, and especially on those scenes and naked and all that. Yeah, 100%.
And has that changed now that we have the coordinators, the intimacy coordinators?
No, it's still there.
Still there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, and it hasn't been as much on this show since I've been there. This will be my 7th year. Like,
yeah.
But yeah, usually they want they always want the makeup artist. Well, the actors always want makeup.
It's like you're the go-to protective person. Like, just make sure the camera's not in some weird position.
And that's the hardest thing for us to tell a DP. I don't want to tell a DP what to do.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I've got this one saying, "Can you make sure my fat cheek doesn't
I don't want
work?"
him looking at this, or I don't want him looking at that.
And then I have to say, how can we, you know what I mean? Or I'll be like, she's not going to like that angle. What do you mean?
I'll tell you the flip side for me is I'll be in there with the camera, and they'll be telling me to line something up, and it's just not flattering. And, of course, the actress or the actor is 2 feet away from me, so I can't call out and go, this really doesn't look very good.
Yeah.
And, like, you'll quietly try to say something, and then they'll be like, what's the problem? And it's just like, I'm trying to quietly help something here.
Yeah.
It can get frustrating when people are not all on the same same thing, right?
Yeah. It's hard.
But I'll tell you, the intimacy coordinator has changed things tremendously. It's kind of I'm assuming you guys work with them now, right?
Yeah.
The ones I've worked with, it's been kind of amazing because it's just like, okay, great. So someone is fully on time. Well, I mean, they're all different, of course. The ones I've worked with, I've been lucky with, but yeah. Did you read the scripts before you
yeah.
When you read Boogie Nights, Do you read that and go, this is going to be a great movie? I mean, 'cause
No.
it's, on paper, it seems like it's
No,
gotta...
I read it. So I went to the production meeting because, again, I was the key. But so I went to the production meeting. They handed me the script and a video.
Uh-oh.
So I read the script. I went home and put in the VCR, right?
Yep.
And it was, why can't I think of his name? The porn star that it was based off of.
Was it based on Ron Jeremy?
No.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, him. I don't know why I can't think of it.
Yeah.
But it was that documentary.
Oh.
And I had a boyfriend at the time. I go, what am I doing?
What am I getting involved in? And also, was Paul Thomas Anderson, he wasn't that big yet?
He wasn't that big yet
It wasn't
at all.
like, ooh, I'm doing a Paul Thomas Anderson movie.
Nope,
'Cause
I had
think
no idea who he was.
Boogie Nights was kind of what put him on the map.
Yeah, and he
Yeah.
was dating like Fiona Apple or something.
Yeah, that's right.
But I was there every single day and he didn't even know what I did. He didn't know my name. And I thought,
Oops.
wow,
Yeah.
thanks, dude.
All right. Well, there you go.
Whatever.
So you read. So it wasn't like this is going to be.
No, I just kind of went, what am I working on? And we just laughed about John Holmes. That's what it was.
John Holmes. Yeah.
And it, if you ever watch that documentary, it's almost exactly like it. It's so.
Oh, really?
It's a lot of some of the same things, which is interesting. But
Okay.
yeah. So I just kind of went, well, okay, it's giving me my hours, which is, you're always up for the hours.
Yep.
And then my boyfriend at the time, he wanted to be on it, so he was a background guy one couple times, and he realized, because he's like, "Babe, why do you work so long? Are you really working long hours?" I'm like, come with me. And he goes, oh, that sucks. Yeah, okay.
Why? He wasn't in the business.
Wasn't in the
obviously.
business, yeah.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
So, amazing job.
In
Because
Australia?
I was in Hawaii. No,
Hawaii.
it was the one in Hawaii. It's
Nice.
the one before that. So I was in Hawaii for a total, I think, almost 4 months.
Whoa.
was-
What island?
So we were in Kauai for the first and then Oahu. Oh, no, it didn't suck.
Rough.
Everything about it was amazing. It was
Yeah.
it was a tough job for me on a different level, but really, really fun. All of them were great.
Yeah.
I got to do a couple cool things. We're on Kauai, and we had to, it's a small island, and they realized they didn't have all the hair things for Johnny's double.
Uh-huh.
All the things in Johnny's hair are actually his personal items.
Oh, you mean the things that are like woven in there?
Yeah,
and
like
whatnot?
keys and all this stuff. And so one day
personal items, of course they are.
they go, hey, so over the weekend you're gonna make those things. And so they hand me all the exact replicas of everything, but they're in white plastic, and I have to paint them to look like metal and stuff like that.
How is that your job? Jeez.
Because I don't know, but it's kind of cool. They're like, we think
Yeah.
you can paint. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'll take the challenge. But the challenge was there's not an art store in the little where we were.
Geez.
I found 3 colors, and I'm like, all right. I spent the whole weekend. They said, oh, and if you lose it, they're Johnny's personal, so just know that.
Oh my God.
No pressure.
Yeah, right.
And they're tiny little things, and you're just
Yeah.
like, oh, crap, what am
So
I
you're
gonna
like
do?
mixing paint colors, trying to get the thing right.
It was the most challenging thing I ever did, but they turned out really good. I was
That's
really
cool.
happy. And
Nice.
then they gave me another job. I got to do the fingernails for what's oh my God, why can't I think of anybody's name today?
I didn't see the movie. So I
Oh,
can't
okay.
say.
But so I had to make these custom nails, which are really fun because they were long, and you got to jack them all up and make them look gnarly.
Oh,
And
that's
I got
cool.
to create them and then put them on, and they're just fun. Like,
That's great.
Those are, on top of the other 1,000 things you get to do on that show, the pirate stuff and all that.
Yeah.
Like, it was really fun. But the ship was really cool.
Well, it was a real ship.
It
I'm
was a real
assuming.
ship because we had gone out a bunch of times, and it's funny because they didn't want the women to go on the ship
Why not?
because supposedly we can't handle. All the guys got sick, so
'Cause
then
we can't handle it. God, what is this, like the 1800s?
okay, I should probably not say.
Good
But no, it was really stupid. So then when no one was left, so then I was like, I'll go.
Yeah.
I'm really good. And
Yeah.
it's me and one other guys went, and the other guy got sick the whole time.
And you
As-
were fine.
As me watching the entire boat full of pirates. And I just went, whatever. They're supposed to be dirty and sweaty. It's
That's
fine.
awesome. I love that. That's
But it was-
great.
It was funny.
Oh,
But
that's a blast.
yeah, it was.
Wow.
The ship was. It's just there was so many cool things about it. And
Like, I don't know what aspect of just that it was an old ship or.
well, just all the pirate stuff they have on it.
Oh, I
mean, it's
gotcha.
all really cool. Skeletons everywhere.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
really just a cool looking ship,
That's fun.
and all the actors are great and
Yeah.
just lovely. And Johnny was lovely, and
Yeah. So we've talked about this before, but for people who don't know, you work crazy. I mean, I work crazy hours,
Yeah.
but you work crazy hours.
yeah, it's dumb.
You guys are usually there. How
Depending on what you do, it could be an hour to 3 to 9. I did a job where we were there 9 hours before the crew.
Because of prosthetics.
No, and there was no prosthetics. So this was. Did you hear about that? Did you hear about that movie called Bolden?
Bolden?
Yeah. So
No.
it was a guy who was never directed and owns like hotels and used his own money to create this movie.
I've heard of a couple movies like this that,
And it was
I
a
don't know
jazz singer, jazz.
and was this
player.
was this back like North Carolina
Yeah.
or something like that? Oh, you
know
know what?
people-
There's a Steadicam operator who was on this who called me and goes, "Hey, do you want to come in and do this?" And I was like, "What?" And he was making crazy money, but he was sitting on the truck doing nothing, and he was like, "I'm losing my mind. I have to get another job." And I almost did it, and it was one of these things that, as I remember, there was a whole bunch of Steadicam operators that came and went because everybody was just like, "Look, it's great money, but it's just it's."
So the first movie he did that he made that and didn't know what he was doing. So people bought houses because they were just overtime.
Because he's just a multimillionaire who's
Yeah.
like, I'm just going to keep throwing money at this till it becomes a movie.
Yeah, and so then he hated the way it looked, so he went to film school and redid it, and that's what I worked on.
Bolden, Bolden.
DEN.
Does it exist? Is it out?
Yeah,
Okay.
it came out a couple.
I didn't realize. I'm gonna have to see this. Okay.
Yeah, I still haven't seen it, but our job, we had 500 extras, I think as it was, or
Oh my
maybe
gosh.
not that. Maybe it was like 300. I think it's like 300, but they all have to be in period everything. So like the girls, they couldn't shave their armpits. The woman who was designing the makeup, she was amazing. She was this amazing artist, conceptual artist thing, and so like she wanted, let's say for example, she said, I want these hookers to look a certain way, and this is how it has to be applied, this is how I want it, and it was a very specific thing. So we all did it, and I ended up doing them. I got all the hookers because apparently I did it right. I don't know how, but it was such a specific.
Yeah.
Everything was just, it had to be exactly, and laying hair and all this stuff. So we were there 9 hours before the crew.
9 hours.
And then we'd shoot. And so we would have 2 meals before the crew got there.
Oh my God! So wait, so
we would shoot
and you'd
20-hour
like
days.
I was gonna say, so you shoot like 12 hours, and then
Yeah.
you had to take them out of.
Yeah. So we
Wow.
would shoot 20-hour days. But I'm on location. I don't care. I'll
Yeah.
make the money.
Yeah.
But it was crazy. It was crazy. And people were
Absolutely crazy.
Yeah. And he just didn't care. They were just like throwing money out at us.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was this a union?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Yeah,
No,
it's funny. I now remember getting a call for this.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, they told me the rate, and I was like, "Why are you leaving this?" And he's like, "I haven't done anything in like 3 weeks. I'm losing."
They
my-"
would hold
Forget
people.
who it was. Yeah.
We'd get all these background ready, and they'd never use them.
Wow.
And they'd be like, can they go home? And they said no. And some of these people live far away, and it was anyway. But so that would be the most extreme I've ever been in before crew.
Yeah, that's
And then I
horrible.
think on normal every show, it's about an hour to an hour and a half.
So your average day is like 15.
Yeah.
Jeez, boy. I mean, that takes its toll after a while.
Yeah.
It's got to.
Oh yeah, it did.
So
And-
your weekends basically just.
No, because I need to make the most out of my life,
Yeah.
so I just don't sleep. So when I'm working, I don't sleep. And it's fantastic. And this show, we work, 6 days, 7 days. We worked 1 year, 13 days in a row.
Oh my gosh, this is 911 because on the weekends they need like to close down
It's
the freeway or
locations,
something
yeah.
like that or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, it's usually
Yeah.
location. And supposedly they'll be better this year. They're talking 10-hour days on stage, 11-hour days on location. And that's crew, though. So that's still not us.
I was
So
going to say that's.
I'm still going to do 12
Yep.
to 13 minimum.
Yep.
Which is, when I started the business, we did 12-hour days. That's just what you did. And from beginning to end. And that was low
was that.
budget.
Yep.
And it was easy. I mean, I remember the first time I was like, I can't work this. And then you just do.
You do.
And then
But so
you're
are you
like,
always in a forced call?
No, they won't force me.
So you come in late?
So we work it out that I either, depending on who's working in the morning, we just have to switch out,
You
and
shift,
that's why they can't. I go, you guys. I know there's only 2 actors left, but one of us is going to have to leave. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? We have to do that.
You got to, or else you got to force us, which you won't do. So we got to figure something out. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's always
Lord.
that. It's always this thing of, hey, let me know because I'm coming into this.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you
and-
want to do? Wow.
Yeah.
Good Lord. And another aspect of your job to add it is isn't hard enough as it is.
Yeah. That's the
Yeah.
hard part. Juggling.
Because this podcast is theoretically about operating. No, but actually, I love having people who aren't operators on here because it gives a whole new aspect of the film industry. But what about working with operators? Like, what's your experience been like? What's working with a good relationship with an operator versus a bad relationship with an operator? Like things that operators shouldn't do or should do.
Okay, so an operator, what would make me happy is if you have an issue, come to me and not to the actors. Because I think I was telling you that story the other day about my lovely friend, and he just went to the actor and said, "You go tell your makeup artist you need concealer." No, don't do that. Actors are insecure.
Oh, come on.
Actors are insecure, and we all know that, and we love them dearly, and that's our job. But just come straight to me for any issue. I don't care what it is, and instead of hollering on set too.
Yeah.
I had somebody on our show just be like, is that nail polish right? And first of all, let's just start with, why is that your business? Let's just go, I'm the nail. But don't yell it across the room. Just come to me and
discretion.
Say. But first of all, I don't even know why you'd even care. But anyway, but come to me. Yeah. Discretion is better. Then actors don't get insecure, and then I don't get pissed off.
No, that's, but by the way, it makes sense, but it's invaluable.
Right, but I love that somebody has my back. It's not, that's why I say, just come to me.
Yeah.
And that way we're both in this happy marriage together.
Yep.
But the minute one goes off, like I would never go to you, and I would never do that. But I'd also ask for help. Well, you guys don't light, so yeah.
No, but you would never go to an actor and go, "Why are they using that lens so close to you? It doesn't look good." I mean, that's the reverse of it, right?
No. And I do like operators that are open to. I remember back in the day before we had monitors, I'd look through the lens.
Yeah, I remember that well. I actually missed that because there's sometimes I'll introduce myself to hair and makeup, but then I almost never talk to them anymore.
Yeah, because it's not the same.
And they used to come up and can I look through? And I'd be like, yeah, sure. And then you get to know them and whatever. And
I miss those days. I totally forgot about that till just now. I was like, what did we do? Yeah, we looked through the lens.
You look through the lens. Or even if you didn't, because some people were weird about putting their eye up to they'd come and they'd stand right by the lens and go, "Are you seeing that? Does that look good? How does that look?" or whatever. And you actually communicated. It was great.
Well, that's a thing. Like I would hope that if I ask you a question, you'll be honest about it.
Yeah.
But I think in general I've had great luck with operators. Yeah. Just a couple little.
No, but that's a really good thing because I mean, especially for younger operators, that might not be something they would think about just because they're overwhelmed with so much other stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot.
And one of the things that I always tell people is right off the bat, go introduce yourself to hair and makeup. You may never talk again the way things are, but at least you're making an attempt.
Yeah.
And I'll usually say, look, it used to be I would introduce myself and say, hey, if you ever want to look through, just let me know.
Yeah.
Whatever. I don't do that anymore, obviously, because truthfully, you're usually looking at a better image than I am.
Yeah.
But what about? I think I asked you about this, but so we have it on here. I always have that thing where flyaways, like flyaway hair, right?
Oh yeah.
Like I'll see it, and there's this part of me that's like, well, they're seeing that, so they must be okay with it. But then I'm like, yeah, but I should say something. So I'll often come up and go, hey, are you guys okay with that flyaway? And 9 times out of 10. It's, we see it. Well, she decided she doesn't want to be, blah, blah. It's fine.
Right.
But then every once in a while they'll go, yeah, I see it. And it's just like, well, I'm not attacking you. I just want to make sure, is there a better way to deal with that?
Well, okay, let's just start. Hair is a different world, right? They're really sensitive.
Oh, interesting. Tell me about this.
I think they're separate. And I love you hairdressers, don't get me wrong. But they're just sensitive. And so a lot of times it's easy for the hair department to just look from a distance, say, oh, they're great, and not be at the monitor. I'd say most of the time they're not at the monitor like we are.
Okay, interesting.
And so they get offended easier because I think they feel like you're telling them they're not doing their job, which is not what that is. You're just seeing, just if you say, I see a sparkle on the face.
That's exactly. Or I'll say to a DP, are we okay with this flare? And they'll go, yeah, I love the flare, but I just want to make sure that we're all okay with the flare.
Exactly. Yeah. So there's no good way to say it because they're always going to be defensive.
That's interesting, and actually it's so funny, and it's terrible because I sort of put hair and makeup together, and I'm realizing absolutely they're two totally. It's just you're sort of in the same trailer, so I think of it.
People always put us together. I can't tell you how many times they've gone in and told me, and I'm like, that's hair.
Yeah, And it's funny because now that I'm thinking back, is like the things that I'll say more often are usually hair, because it's makeup. The only thing I'll ever probably mention about makeup is if I think that they're sweating. Yeah. Are we all, is the shine okay?
Yeah.
But again, it's the thing of you don't want to call it out because then suddenly the actor's like, wait, what's the matter?
Yeah, I mean, I think because you guys are always on walkie, even to say it to an AD, there's. Because you can't half the time you can't just move, so
No.
you could say it like over walkie, and that's fine. Like there's stuff like I think I have everything perfect, and like, oh shoot. So I don't know. I stand by the monitor all the time because I don't want to have to get back up.
Yeah.
But that's just me. I think I overdo it.
I don't think everybody does that.
No.
I mean, well, actually, I shouldn't say that.
A
lot of times they're sitting on their own, but they probably have a monitor with
or
them.
their iPads.
Yeah,
But
their
a lot of
iPads.
times I won't catch it on iPad. But yeah, no, I think hair moves. I mean, that's the other
That's the
thing.
thing.
That's the hard part, especially you've got people doing this.
Yeah.
And if that's why I don't want to do hair, because I'd be frustrated because people just, and the hairdresser just finally gives up, which I don't blame
they're
them.
moving their hair or they're just moving their head or whatever.
And it
Depending
moves.
on, there was one show which I will not mention, but the lead actress always had flyaways, and I would. At the beginning, I'd bring, because like the light would be hitting, and it was just like some huge and the people in hair would come up and they go, listen, we're not. She doesn't want it every time. Da, da, da. I'd be like, okay. And then she'd have some horrible flyaway, and they'd walk over and they go, why aren't you telling us about this? I'm like, well, wait a minute. Either I got to bring it up or I don't got to bring it up. Like I can't make the
frustrating.
call.
Yeah.
And I just said to them, look, I totally understand, but you guys have to make the call then, or else I got to tell you every time. I don't know what to do. And it was this weird thing where it was like, well, certain flyaways are okay and certain aren't. And I was
I don't
like,
even know. Yeah,
I don't even know what to do with that, because to me
Yeah.
it's like there is a flyaway or there's not a. By the
Yeah.
way, for anybody who's listening who doesn't know this, a flyaway is basically a hair that's sticking straight out of their head, or something that essentially catches your eye. And to me, my big thing is always, if it's taking me out of the story because like the light's hitting it or something, then it's a problem.
Yeah, I
Because
agree.
you
And that's
don't-
on anything though.
Yeah.
And I feel like here's the thing, like I like working with a team, which is the whole crew of people that help each other out. If you saw something in costume, we all work together on this particular show, which I like. 'Cause it feels like back in the non-union days where you'd be like, oh, do you see that? Oh, I didn't see that. Thanks. You
On
know what I
911
mean?
you're talking about.
Yeah.
Well,
And
it's probably also because you're all working such long hours.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
I feel like people are like, oh well, that's that department, you can't say anything. I actually feel like, why can't we just be a team? And
Yeah.
we're not telling you you're not doing your job, just did you see that?
Yeah.
And I feel like we work really well on our show that
That's
way,
great.
because you kind of have to. Those are the things I miss from non-union days, is just teamwork.
Well, and it was also like you'd never had enough people, so everybody had to.
Yeah,
Whatever. But my guess
exactly.
is in your case, it's probably like you're working with really good people, and hopefully they're all secure in what they're doing.
Yeah.
So it's not like, well, I know I saw that. Why don't you think I saw that? And it's just more like, no, there's 12 million things to do. Thank
Yeah.
you for helping me.
Yeah,
with that.
that's what it is. And
Yeah.
that's the thing. Like, we're
That's
not,
great.
no one's ever saying you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
It's just a mess of a show 90% of the time. So.
And on that show, which you're like we were talking about, you're doing a lot of prosthetics, or I don't know, is prosthetics the word, when there's
Blood
cuts
and blood grids and everything,
guts
yeah.
and whatever. Is it constantly new stuff, or is it more variations on a theme as you go forward?
Oh, constantly new.
And are you constantly having to like look up really nasty things?
Yes.
Ooh.
There's some things that I was like, you go down that road and you're like,
You farm it out?
because they'll sit there, they'll say, as gross as you can be, then I show them something gross, they go, okay, ABC or Fox won't let that. And I go, then why? I mean, there's stuff that we put on. They had this one scene, it was such a cool makeup, where there was an explosion and half of his jaw was gone, right? And it was this cool makeup.
So you could see like
Teeth and
stuff.
everything,
Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
It was a really cool makeup. We loved doing it. Trent did it, and it was so great. And then he gets to set, and they're like, "It's too gross." I'm like, "You saw it." They
Wait, but
saw
let me
it.
ask you a question. So his cheek is gone, so you can see his jaw. So how do you
So that
do
was
that?
we pulled it back.
like physically pull it back?
Yeah, it was like a piece that pulled back a cheek, and then you glued all this down.
Wow.
It was really cool, and they showed it on TV for like 3 seconds.
Yeah.
And I was
that's
so bummed
terrible.
because they want us to make this stuff.
Yeah.
And I had a director just last season. I walked to set before, it was a dog bite and they wanted it really crazy. And so I went to the rehearsal with the actor, showed everybody, got approval.
Yeah.
Doesn't have the blood or anything in it. And then right before about the shoot, the director comes up and he goes, "Can you take one of those off?" I'm like, "No."
One of what? One
There
of
were
the
two.
puncture,
There were two bite marks.
like
two,
puncture Oh,
no,
yeah.
they were
okay.
like
rip the skin open.
Yeah. And I said, "No, you guys approve this." Yeah, I'm thinking it's too much. I go, "You want me to take it off here on set?"
Yeah, it doesn't just peel off and. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I said no, and I just went. He goes, "Well, just put a lot of blood over it." So then that to me just looks stupid.
Yep.
Because all the detail's gone.
Yep.
And then of course later they were just like, "Well, what if you took one off later?" And I just looked at him like, "You got." That's why I go to set for approval.
Exactly.
You do these things.
What was that whole thing about? Yeah. And do you find that everybody then becomes an expert on how to do it?
Oh. I can't even go there. And that's the hard part about this job, because you've got the creator, the director, the writer. They all want their own say. And
Yep.
then me and then the prosthetic designer, we're trying to come up with something that will make all of them happy, which is not ever going to happen. And I also need to be happy.
Yeah.
And I also need to feel that it's right, because I can't do something that feels wrong. I can't.
Yep.
I like, that just is dumb and I don't want to do it, So it's a fine balance, and then the actor has to play their part, and you have to go, "Are you comfortable with that?"
Be comfortable with it, yeah. Like
so
this-
there's all these stupid factors,
Yep.
and they're not stupid, but it's the harder part of the job is the politics, and
Sure.
that's the one thing. Oh, I guess that's the end of the thing, but
Well, you could say it now.
yeah, I just think you got to know how to play politics. You got to know how to address things without getting angry, and you just have to know, you got to know how to juggle things and read people. You got to read the room, you got to read the energy, and I think that's the hard part with this. It's the easiest part in my opinion, but the hardest part in a lot of people's opinion, because like you just got to know how to read people and how to react, right?
Yeah.
Because there's people that are great artists but are bad for the job because of the way they interact with other people. So you just got to know how to be a psychiatrist and psychologist.
Well, like you said earlier, you also got to know when to pick your battles.
Yeah.
And realize that you shouldn't pick most battles.
Yeah.
So that you only do one occasionally. I will say it's one of the things that I like about being a Steadicam operator, because there's almost never anybody in the room who's like, "I would balance it this way."
Yeah.
And it's just like, shut up.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas I'm sure everybody's going like, "I think that should have more blood," or "I think those holes should be bigger."
1,000 opinions.
Yeah.
1,000 opinions. And it's just, you just go, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you.
Wow. And it occurs to me, you were saying about the bites and the thing. So you're constantly backwards engineering stuff, right?
Yeah.
I mean, because there's no some of the stuff like you're saying the teeth being, there's no guidebook for it.
No.
It's just sort of.
We find it's amazing between my other artist and my prosthetic designer who can find stuff, because they're pretty good on the prosthetic designer end to find things, because I'll be like,
You mean find something that exists already?
yeah, or similar to it, because because the thing is, our writers do try to find stuff that actually is a thing,
Yeah.
and some of the things that they find actually are really hard to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We had one where the guy's legs got shortened, and I'm like,
Shortened.
yeah, he fell through a roof, and then his kneecaps came up through here, and I'm like, how am I supposed to do that? And I mean, we figured it out, but it was such a weird one. There's so many weird things that I'm like, I don't even know how to do this.
Wait, what'd you end up doing to shorten his legs?
What was it? It was he was in between the ceiling and that, so it was all like visual, like where the camera was, and then so this leg didn't come down as much, but we had the prosthetic, like the knee was there, so I think we put it here. You know what I mean?
So
it was
you
just
moved the knee down.
we moved it down
or
moved it up.
Yeah.
I can't remember, but
That's wild.
it was trippy because it looked weird until he got onto set.
And then it worked.
Yeah,
That's wild.
yeah. I think our first episode this season is gonna be crazy. So I was like, oh, okay. Just some things I just go, I don't even know how we do. And then of course you have to have it done in 3 days. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the other part, is the time, and time management's huge.
And do you guys like, when you're making these things up, do you like put it on each other to see how it works during the as you go along?
If we have time to do a test, we will do a test.
Uh-huh.
If it's something really critical, yeah. sometimes we don't get a test the day up. This 3-hour makeup, this burn makeup we basically tested it 2 hours before we shot it.
Oh, jeez. And hoped.
And it was such a challenging makeup. The guy who created it just said, it's really going to be hard because our gentleman had a full beard, and so we had to take away. He didn't want to cut his beard.
Oh, you mean the real actor?
The real actor had a full beard, and we needed half his beard taken away, and he wouldn't shave it.
Oh, jeez.
So it was a whole
So you have to cover that up first.
Yeah, which is trying to lay it super, super flat,
Oh,
and then
God.
do this piece without it popping up, and then laying hair everywhere. It was just challenging because it was made for him, so it's very specific, but everything had to be exact. Everything had to line up exactly, or it just didn't fit.
Wow.
And that's why it took us 3 hours the first time, because we were like, we had never seen the piece, we'd never met the actor. And also I'm like, all right, here we go. And we get it done, and I sent the pictures to the designer. He goes, well, you're off. This is off. This is off. I was like, oh, like, I didn't see it because I didn't design it. So sometimes those are the challenges.
Wait, when you said the designer, you mean the designer of the prosthetic?
Yeah. So we use I use a man who has a whole company, and
that's just his deal.
It's separate because I can't create them.
I gotcha. Okay.
And so he designs all our big prosthetics.
Oh, okay. And then you guys, apply them and make them look. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and I usually meet with Vincent, and then we go over it, and then he'll show me. But this piece was super challenging, and
Vincent is the prosthetics guy.
Yeah, and I'd be like, I told him, I said, do you want to come and do it with me? He goes, nope. And he's, it's great because I can bounce stuff off him, and it's hard because I was like, oh, he's gonna hate that, and he'd be like, yeah, that's not that good, or okay, you did great, but it's hard because he's so good.
Sure.
And
but he's also not dealing with the real world, like you said, of there's a beard there and he doesn't want to. I mean, that's
and he had never seen the actor in person either, so it was crazy.
Lord.
The whole thing was built. He was scanned in Atlanta, and then it built here, and he never got to see him. So the piece wasn't exactly where it should have been because he didn't know where his facial hair was. So every day was a challenge, and Trent and I'd be like, well, that is really great here. That's a little off, but nobody's going to know. And all these things are stuff that we see.
Yeah.
And nobody sees it on set.
But this is what I've said to other people about operating, about all the things we do. It's like we're all, I don't mean to be egotistical about this, but we're all artists looking at the canvas from like an inch away.
Yeah.
And stuff drives us crazy. And then when we'd go across the room and look at it like everybody else, you're like, oh, I can't even tell that that's there. But that's why I think it all works, right?
Yeah.
Is because we're so exacting on that. So I think like we all have our own little, like I'll someone asked me in a Steadicam class, do you remember a shot where you put the rig down and you were like, I nailed that? And I was like, God, that sounds fantastic. Like, I've never in my life felt that. And I looked around the room and other people were like, does that happen? Does anybody do that? Because we're never happy, right?
Yeah, we're never happy.
Yeah, which is what makes you good.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's also frustrating at the same time.
Oh yeah, and that my team always laughs at me. They're like, that went perfect, and then I go, but da da da. Because you always just want to make things better.
Yeah, that's the way it is. So, how many prosthetics do you do on an average show for 911? I mean, is it like every day you're doing one?
No, so I would say we usually have like 3 gags in an episode. So we have a 10-day episode. So we usually have 3 gags. So it depends on how often the gag works. Like if it's, let's say somebody's burned, are they going to be burned for 4 days? Then we would do it for 4 days.
I got you.
It all depends on the script and stuff like that. But in general, we probably do a couple times a week, depending on what it is and the injuries and stuff like that. And then
and do you get this? You get the script ahead of time. You read it. Do you like give a breakdown of? This is how long we're going to need. Do you actually let them know like this is what we're going to have to farm this one out? We're going to have to.
Oh yeah, I've already. I'm not even hired. Like I'm not even hired yet. And I said we got to get the actors now because everything you want in the script. I just got a writer's copy, and I told them yesterday. I said, we got to get on this.
Yeah.
Crickets.
Of course not. That's her problem. She'll figure it out.
It's always that. I can't tell you the turnaround on some of these, and I just go, we do miracles some days.
Well, that's the problem, though, right? Because they keep giving us less, and we keep doing it. So then they're like, well, they did it last time, so.
Well, I told them last year. I said, I told my team, I said, we have to fail this season because otherwise it's gonna. And this isn't on here, but with our budgets, they cut our budget in half last year. In half, not just because we switched companies. So we had 10 episodes. So by the 5th episode, I was out of money. I wouldn't have been if we had it. So I just told my team, I said, we're failing, and I'm not saving money. I'm just going to keep adding. And they come up to me, they go, you're over budget. And I said, you can give me a week's notice, and then I can pack up my trailer.
Yeah, or by the way, don't write things into your script if you want to. Like, there's a lot of ways to make this work.
So
give me the money I need.
They just looked at me and they said, that's not how it works. I go, well, just let me know when you're ready to fire me, because I can't change what I'm doing. I didn't change what I was doing. I just bought what I needed, and we finished the season. It was fine. And it's so stupid.
It's such a game.
It's such a game.
It's so
and I just I just said, but you have to fail. My team's like, the whole crew knew that. And the whole crew, it's so hard for that crew to fail.
That's the problem. We're all like that. It's really.
We had to at one point. Every department had to fail for a minute, just
it's ridiculous.
Because.
Well, this has been eye-opening and fantastic. Any other movies you want to tell me about, or any other stories, good makeup stories?
I know I have a bunch. That's the funny thing. I didn't even think about that one.
You shared a bunch, so it's not. I'm just saying if you have any that come to mind.
Well, yeah, I don't think.
Let me ask you this: have there been any actors that you've worked with where you're just like, I cannot believe I'm working with this person?
Oh yeah.
Who?
Harrison Ford.
What'd you work with him on?
I had one. It was an interview. I just got to do an
really?
interview. He was between makeup artists, and it was just an interview for something a friend of mine was doing. And he said, "Do you want to do it?" I'm like, yes. And it was just him and I in a room. And I barely could speak to him, and he was so lovely.
You're like you're Indiana Jones.
I was dying. And then there was only 4 of us total. And so the 2 guys doing sound and camera were getting their pictures taken, and I was too shy. And he goes, "Get over here, take your picture." And the best part was, a month later, I was day checking on Air Force One or whatever that was, and he remembered me from my tattoo. He goes, "Hey, I remember you." And I went, "Harrison Ford remembered me." I feel so special.
Are there other people that you've worked with that you just sort of like, you're overwhelmed by it?
I mean, so let me ask you a question for people, because I've been there where I'm like, I can't believe I'm working with this person. Who was
It doesn't
yours?
happen a lot. Who is Robert Duvall?
Oh, yeah.
Robert Duvall was and he was tough too. So it was like, wow, this is overwhelming. I didn't work with him much, but Tom Hanks was so unbelievably nice. It was like, oh my God, you feel like the next door neighbor.
That's what I heard.
Like the nicest person in the world. There's a couple others over the
I
years.
have to say, Johnny Depp was amazing, and truly, I know that whole Pirates crew, but like Holly Hunter, I remember I was working on a film, and I saw some ad, and I was like, I really want to do her makeup. And then all of a sudden, I got to do her makeup and be hers for like 3 shows.
No way. I worked with her on Saving
Grace. Yeah, well, that's me too. I worked on that the last
I came
season.
in there a couple days, so we probably saw each other.
Yeah, that's where I met her.
She was wonderful.
She's a tough one.
Yeah. Oh, is she?
And in the best way of tough.
Okay.
She's so professional.
Yeah.
You have to show up no matter what department you're in. You have to show up and know what you're doing, or she calls you out.
But you know what?
That's
if you're
how it should
good,
be.
that's a good thing. If
I
you're
know.
not good, you probably had no problem with her. But other people, no, I get you. I mean, I can't fault someone for that, because it's like,
not
look,
at all.
this business is too hard.
I loved it. I remember I had to beat her up in an episode on Saving Grace, and she told me, she goes, "I want to be able to feel it." And I went, "What does that mean?" And so I was testing on all my girls, because I couldn't do a test on her. She was too busy. And so I was like, "Hey, can you feel it? Do you feel like, does it look real?" And but that it had to look so real to her that she felt it.
She wanted to look in the mirror and go, I can feel the pain of like what inflicted this. And did you get it?
Yeah, but
great.
I was petrified.
What does this mean?
Yeah, I was like, sometimes I'm like, there's no pressure, but she is one of my favorite people to work with.
That's wonderful.
Because she's so good and keeps you on your toes.
Yeah. So let me ask you another question. You do not have to give me any names. You know what's coming. As operators, there are actors we work with who are tough, and it's a very different thing, because you're doing their makeup and you're much more physical. But there's some. How do you deal with tough actors who just either are unhappy people, because that happens, or are method, or
I've worked with a lot of method. Method isn't as hard for me, because usually just stay out of their way, and I think that's the easy part, and we communicate that at the beginning.
It's like what are the rules going to be?
Kind of, especially with a method, and if they're tough scenes. I mean, Holly's very method, and she would actually use me in some of her scenes. She goes, "You need to stand right there so I can see you."
No
and
way.
I'm like, okay, yeah. Yeah, but that's the relationship is really good. But then I've had actors like, don't touch me. I'm like, let's just be clear. So when you need something, you holler for me, and I leave it at that. And then I just watch. I said,
It's on you.
I'll always be watching you, but you have to come get me because I'm gonna let you do your thing. And they always respect that.
Okay.
But mean actors, and I don't have to say names.
No, but they're bad. They're bad grips and electricians and makeup people. They're bad people out there.
Yeah, and so there's one particular show, and when I got on the show, this person had a reputation, and I told the producers. They said, "Can you please make sure you do the whole season?" I said, "If this person goes with the reputation, then I will leave."
Yeah.
And the person, made it to the last 2 weeks, and
That was enough.
I mean, I stayed to the end, but I just didn't go back. It was good morning, you're welcome, and that was my interaction. Even when I went to touch up, I
was going to say that.
job.
I mean, it's hard enough for me, and I'm 5 feet away and may have to help. Can you step this way? But you're physically touching people.
Yeah, and in their face, and we get told you are not allowed to talk to the actor until he talks to you, and I go, you gotta be fucking kidding me. What do you? I mean, and I just went, I'm not buying that. But the person was just not kind. Yeah. And it's fine. And that person now, his makeup artist is a man, and I think he's just that's a better dynamic for him.
Yeah, whatever.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, in my head, I just do my job. I don't talk about anything. I don't talk about them at all. I just do my thing.
Yep.
And I'm kind and walk away. Mm-hmm. But very robotic, which is not me.
No. But sometimes you have to be to protect yourself, right?
Yeah. And I've had, and it's weird.
And what do you, when you have someone who you need to touch up but they won't, do you just go to the AD and go, look, I just want to let you know, I tried to do this, they're not allowing me. I don't know what else you want me to do.
Yeah. Well, I'll say, actually, I usually go to the DP. I'll be like,
whoever.
Just by the way, maybe you might want to say something. And then when they say it, usually they'll be like, okay.
Yeah.
I did have a challenge with an actor that signed up for a prosthetic makeup and then once got it on, decided they didn't want it on. And so they weren't allowed.
You mean this was in their character, like this would be worn
This is their
throughout.
character. Yeah. And so I wasn't allowed to use the products that I needed to glue this on, and so it wouldn't stay.
Oh, geez.
And I like the whole trailer knew it would be beautiful about 10 minutes, and then it would not hold up because and none of the crew knew, so they just thought I was this hacky makeup artist. Yeah. And of course, a director that I love and adore and is huge was directing this pilot. Mm-hmm. And I went up to him and I just said, and he just went,
what do you want me to do?
He goes, if I didn't know you, I would be upset because I know it's you and I know it's not that. But it's the worst feeling on the planet. And at one point I had the producer in the trailer with me to watch the process because he's like, what are you doing? I said, I don't even say a word.
Come see. Yeah.
And he watched her in the middle of the makeup have a meltdown and start crying. And I deal with that every day. And he's like, oh my God.
Oh my God.
No, it was that bad. And I was so happy that happened. And one point she pushed me too far. I said, excuse me. I walked outside and I looked at my boss and I said, I'm done. I'm going to walk away. And he goes,
wow.
No. And he talked me off the ledge. I said, I am not going to touch that face again.
Yeah.
Until she apologized.
Yeah.
And then he was kind. He didn't like her. And it sucks because she's like, I really like Suzy. I'm like, but
then don't do this. Yeah. But there's something bigger going on.
It was
right?
so.
Yeah, that's too bad.
It was so upsetting because it was a really easy, beautiful makeup.
Yeah.
And it just never got to look what it was supposed to.
Yeah.
And again, only people that knew it wasn't my fault was.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the ego's hard on that.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah, and sometimes you just sort of have to swallow it, right?
Yeah.
That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Well, this has been really interesting and fantastic and great to talk to you. Thank you for coming out.
No, that was fun.
Do you want to? I'll ask you the question that I ask everybody to leave us with, which is
let me just write this.
Advice for someone who's starting out, just in the business in general, or stuff you wish you knew that you know now.
I wish I knew what I was doing. I wish there was a course on how to break down scripts and stuff like that. I didn't really know about that. But if I would have known different, I would probably take more art classes. because I think it's just always helpful. I always tell people want to be a makeup artist, be a hairdresser first, because all those skills, cosmetology skills, help out with makeup at the end of the day. And also you have a license and you can have a backup plan. That's my thing. But I think just practice and just, don't be afraid to, the business, just get in, just be freaking go. You just have to go after people. You just have to go and go and go and go and go. Take every job. As long as it pays something, take every job. I mean, that's what I did. I took everything. It didn't, as long as it paid me, I took it. And then eventually you're going to meet people who, you know what I mean? And just be kind to people.
I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. We'll be back soon with another great episode. Don't forget to check us out on theop.io for all sorts of information on operating and storytelling. So thanks for listening and have a great day.